Welcome to VetLine, your gathering place for vet coaching, answering your data questions. With your hosts, the Nate Sean Don and your Uncle Whit.
Good evening and welcome to VetLine Radio. I am the Natron Don and with me is your Uncle Whit. And tonight we have a question and answer show. We also have an open show like we hope to do very often. Uncle Whit, how's your evening? How's your day? How's your weekend? How's your life going, man?
Hey, everything's right on par. I mean, got some yard work done, got some barbecue set up, getting ready for the nice weather coming right around the corner, and hanging with the boy, doing my thing.
All right, sounds like the American dream over there, man.
Oh yeah, it's the American dream.
Well, tonight's pretty exciting. We have a bunch of questions we've collected, and we've put in some sort of order. Radar, our trusty assistant, couldn't join us this evening. However, he did do his homework and set us up for success with a sheet of questions that he's collected for us. And so we could jump right into that right off the bat.
Well done, Radar. And I gotta say, I'm really excited about having some questions tonight.
Yeah, me too, man.
I'm getting tired of just listening to you. We need some chiming in.
Yeah, I think I put in the show notes that it's a break for the conversational ranting, and it really is. I was really getting tired of even just hearing my own voice just stutter through topics or forget topics. It was driving me crazy. So I'm glad we have a bunch of topics to jump to.
I'm already tired of your voice, but it's a good thing I love you.
Right. All right, dude. First question comes from Steve, a retired Marine, and he sent us this question on Facebook. It is being fathers to young children. How do you foresee yourselves dealing with your children, dealing with telling your children what you did and saw in the military? Would you be for or against them joining themselves?
Ooh.
Thank you, Steve. You want to start?
Steve's kicking off with the heavy hitters, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first round. Ding, ding. Bah, bah, bah.
Right. We're coming in hard. Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. So that's funny that Steve brings that up. It's something that I've been not struggling with, but really asking myself a lot as my son grows a little older and becomes more capable. He is going to grow up with the knowledge that his father served in the military, that his grandfather served in the military, and and the rhetoric that kind of follows. And I don't know. Let me let you field this one to start, there, Don.
Okay. I feel like being a father to young children, I eventually am going to have to tell them what I've seen and what happened. Eventually, probably, because it's going to probably come up in a life lesson, I think, in my mind. At some point you're going to have to instruct your child about the evils of the world, and one of the best ways to tell them about that is your own experiences with evil, or in the face with evil, or about making how to cross-culturally converse, how to communicate with people, and why talk about equality. And when you have these type of experiences, and you can extend them and tell, like, especially for me, I feel like I learned more about other cultures, other people than I ever did being in the military and being on deployment. All my ethnocentrism, which I was flowing with all kinds of patriotism, or not, I guess we would say nationalism or whatever. All that really was put back into focus onto a more equal and diverse standing. So I think eventually I will have to discuss my military experience because it is so profound. However, would I be for or against them joining themselves? Let's see. It really depends, I think.
Well, more importantly, when the time comes, it's not going to be up to you.
Exactly.
And I'd say that to Steve first and foremost, is that when the time comes, they might ask questions or ask for guidance, but it isn't going to be up to you because they'll be of legal age to make their own decisions and vote.
Exactly.
So
My mother told me my entire life I was supposed to be a preacher. So I stepped a little bit outside of those bounds and joined the military.
well, not
So
really. Here you are doing podcasts.
right, this is true. My my own ministry of sorts.
Yeah, the Don's Ministry of Veteran Issues.
Right.
Um, well,
But would I be against or for them joining themselves? It really depends, I think, where they are in life. Let's say I fail. I raise a shitty kid. They're not doing nothing in life. They're not going anywhere. I might advise them, hey,
every parent's worst nightmare.
exactly. I might advise them, hey, the military is there. The military is an option. It's gonna give you some sort of stability and inundate you with some sort of a stronger character than you currently have.
Well,
Maybe that I would consider it maybe at a time like that, or if they were really amped for it, right?
yeah, I mean, for myself, I'd have to reflect on my own experiences. When I graduated high school, I wasn't doing anything. I mean, what we were doing at the time was really important, but it wasn't adding up to much, and I was still, 6 months behind on the rent, and washing dishes and all kinds of stuff. And so, where I was at, I needed some level of maturity. I needed a kind of kick in the ass. And so, of course, maybe I was a failure, and people are like, "Hey, maybe you should join the military." There, Wit.
Were they?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's some pretty heavy support for me doing that.
In the
How
preacher community, you know what we'd call that?
I had no idea.
A conviction.
Mm.
You felt a conviction from the words that came out of my mouth. Go ahead, keep going.
Well, there's the cultural rhetoric, of course, the family, family lineage, all serving, well, not all, but rich history. So there's of course like a cultural sentiment about service in the military, and then everyone else saying, hey, it was a place for me to learn what I wanted and learn what I wanted to do, yada yada yada. And I don't think that any of those people had in mind for my time in the service what I was actually gonna do. It was this separation of, well, you join the Navy and you get on a ship and you can be well out of harm's way and still serve your country, kind of a thing.
Right.
So of course when orders came and all that, it kind of became a different story. But with all that, what would I say to my beautiful baby boy? I would just have to say you do what you feel is right. It sounds really generic and canned, but I can't tell him no.
Mm-hmm.
Decision is his.
Well, let's see. Let me give you a scenario then.
Mm-hmm.
Kiddo's getting out of high school, right? He didn't do great. He's like an average student. She, an average student. They're moving on to a local junior college, right? But they're going to have to pay for by working a part-time job or something. Now, they can do it, but what would you advise them at that point? Would you consider advising them to join the military maybe at that point?
I just have to weigh the options, weigh out how their kind of track record of following through with decisions, doing their homework, for example. I was horrible at doing homework. So anyone that saw me graduate and I had some great idea of what I was going to do, whatever that was at the time, I don't remember, thank God. But I didn't have a good sort of history of follow through with any of my responsibilities. And so enough of those stacked up after I left high school. And I've, like I said, washing dishes in the back of a kitchen at some restaurant in a college town where I wasn't attending school added up to me going, oh, well, crap, man, you're broke and you got no options. Maybe, well, I could have moved home, of course, but I wouldn't have learned anything by moving home. So,
right.
I guess if it would be a matter of tracking the history of the child or the young adult that is my child, engaging that. If they were if they were doing what I was doing, I'd say, hey man, maybe it's time to bone up. um,
Right.
but as a parent, you're also taking on a whole level. Depending on what's going on in the world, you're really taking on a whole other level of letting go. Losing control or losing influence. Because when they take that step and they go into boot camp, they're going to find out how absolutely dog shit worthless they are, which can be a good lesson. I definitely gleaned a lot from feeling worthless on many occasions, and it lets you know how small you are and how insignificant you are, and that the only way that you can be anything is relying and working with other people.
Right. And that's how I parent. I make sure my kids know how insignificant they truly are.
Well, I brought that up just because, as parents, our kids are the greatest thing on the planet, and we want them to know that, and we want them to feel loved and surrounded by love all the time. But then again, are we doing right by our kids by teaching them that all the time? I don't know. I'm not a parenting expert.
It's like how do you foster that healthy sense of humility,
Really, man, I'm playing it by ear. I'm just.
Right. I mean, I can't even say I have that. So geez.
I know that I grew up with a sense of personal accountability. Mm-hmm. That was something that I did bring with me to the military. Was that your actions have consequences, or your actions have outcomes. So they can be positive and they can be negative, but so I mean I wasn't somebody that was like, if I'd just grown up with a better sense of how to do my homework, then I wouldn't be washing dishes. It was like, no, I had some good people and they tried to get me to do my homework, but I didn't want to. And now I'm washing dishes, so this is the outcome of not tending to my responsibilities better when I was younger. So whatever, man.
Right. Well, it seems we're running out of time, I think, for this one. We're going to move on.
Okay. Yeah,
thank you very much, Uncle Whit. Thank you. We're going to move on to the next question. Mm-hmm. This question comes from a Twitter account at Keeping It Real. It says, have you guys ever thought about rejoining the military as officers? # get a job, # bum fights.
Ooh. Get a job and bum fights.
Right. I guess he's talking to me, probably. I could use a job.
Well, you're a stay-at-home dad. That's a job in and all of itself. And
it really is.
Campaign manager with a spouse will tell you the same thing.
Ask Oprah. She was a stay-at-home mom, right?
I don't think she has any kids.
That's how I know. That's how she made her billions, raising children.
Oh, raising moms. So.
Hey!
Well,
you go for it. You have the education. I guess you go first.
Boy, yeah, I've thought about it when times were tight.
What was I guess if we're going to expand on this thought, what was your pros and what was the cons?
Pros and cons?
And what kept you away?
Well, the pros being steady income, healthcare, sense of responsibility and, responsibility. Yeah, I mean, those are some big pros. Those are the kinds of things that you need to feel like an adult or like a man or like a woman, or you have to have something solid that you're accountable to. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the military gave me that initially, and the reason I got out was because I wanted to see if I could manage that on my own.
Right.
Cons. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and I have a family, mm-hmm. and I had a wife while I was active duty, so I kind of wanted her to have some career options rather than packing up and moving every couple of years. Right. And I don't know. The cons, there were no pros and cons. They were all like pretty equal. after receiving the degree. It was just a matter of finding a job, and I found a job, and so I mean, I guess I thought about it. Life took me in a different direction. So
Right.
I don't think it's I don't think that it's in my best interest at this point. I mean, I'm on a good level, so I
Mhm.
didn't join because it wasn't in my or my family's, more importantly, best interest at the
Right.
time.
Mhm. Good answer, man.
I'd stick with it. Thank you. I'll be here all night.
For myself, I guess I think about it. I thought about it. I'm not quite done with my education yet, but I guess I do something. There's something romantic about having an actual enemy, like an ISIS, to me. Is that weird to say?
No,
Something. There's something very appealing about that to me.
I
Um,
do have fantasies about joining some. Oh God, NSA. Don't quote me literally, but doing the 1920s thing when they or 30s, I guess, when they all like the writers and stuff all went off to Spain to fight the fascist Franco, and but I don't know. I have
wow.
fantasies about joining foreign military service to be like a medic or something, and
Right, right.
fight the enemy, but again.
Yeah, there's something very romantic, and I enjoy that part of like this. Is why I joined the military. It's something very I find very masculine or something that I've kind of like I imagine myself as some sort of like weird Mad Max road warrior character just wandering the wasteland. That's how I kind of I live my life. Apparently, I don't know. Uh, So there's something very romantic about that for me. So yes, I've thought about rejoining the military, especially now that it's most likely we're going to probably help out in that regard with that. But however, I have built a family, and I have other responsibilities here and other goals that I kind of your bucket list, and I do realize now that time is running out, and it's most likely that I won't get to hit all the things or checkpoints in life I imagine myself hitting, or if I don't kind of get on the ball now. And that's probably part of me about to reach 29 years old, where I'm kind of on the cusp, and I feel like I better get my shit together. So,
Well,
um,
I mean, were you disappointed with your own service in some way? I mean, you said that you have this like
uh,
romance and the things, but
not disappointed,
you
no.
served with the Fleet
You
Marine
know
Force,
how,
and
yeah,
you did
you
a
know
lot
how
of
like, you know
good
how like,
things.
I never really saw any type of combat or anything. A lot of it was fear. A lot of things that did happen, we realized it was almost like after the fact. We kind of were realizing what was going on, and by the time we realized the action was over, and it was very. I guess I had enjoyed my time overseas, deployed in the combat zone, um, doing whatever we did, and but I do feel in a weird way as kind of if I'm going to be completely honest, I do feel like I did miss a bit of the military experience by not seeing any type of real combat or real action. If I'm going to be completely honest, there's something romantic again to me about that, which is kind of odd because I am now very almost adamantly against violence and war, but there's something still very, very romantic about that to me. And so,
Well, this is where I come in and call you a fucking hippie
right, right. And
because
I say that, but I also, I go do martial arts, 3 times a week. You know what I'm saying?
well,
Uh,
violence is an inherent, apparently, necessity of being a human. Like
mm,
anytime we get together and decide to do things together, there's other humans that might not be too down with that, and so there you go. There becomes conflict, and so far, our only source of resolving conflict when it gets elevated enough is executing violence, exerting our
mm,
will, our collective will, over another collective will. and that's where you get that. And I mean, again, humans are not advanced enough to get past that, and we can preach all the peacenik, happy-go-lucky stuff we want as a philosophy or as a sort of ideal, but right now, where we're at, it doesn't exist. We don't have that capacity as a collective conscious. Therefore, I mean, I'd rather be, a hand in a fight or I don't know, doing something than sitting around going, well, why won't anybody else fix this for me? And so, going back, I guess, to Steve's question, I would rather see my child be someone that wants to be a part of that, and understand that the violence inherent of the social collective, than be someone that just wants it to get fixed. And I think in American culture, that's what I see more of. I understand the rhetoric, I understand the philosophy and the ideals and where they come from, but we have a great privilege being, sort of cordoned from the rest of the world on our continent, that for whatever reason we haven't had to engage in that in a really meaningful way since 9/11, which was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
However, nothing's really changed since then because we've been able to insulate it. So the more Americans or the more young people that are sitting around thinking that peace is the answer, as an ideal, I agree. Hey, peace is great. Conversation, reason. Let's work out our differences, man. That's a good way to go. But as anyone that's ever spent any time in a bar, sometimes you just can't talk to people. Sometimes someone just wants to throw down. Oh, fuck you.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what's happening in the bar. They're talking about that.
I mean, like if you get
falling on.
If you get confronted by somebody, that's like, hey, I don't like the way you look at me, and you're like, well, I wasn't looking at you. Yes, you were. Well, how do you reason with that person? You have an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You either match their level of aggression, or you go, oh, it's cool, man. You can have my chair and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, it's a very binary philosophy, but
right.
Now, there's plenty of times that are just, okay, I don't want to get in a fight. Hey,
right.
You're a fucking idiot. I'm out of here. But there's sometimes you catch me on the right night, and I'm like, hey, you push my buddy, I'm going to headbutt the shit out of you and watch your nose explode all over the floor.
Right. But that's offense. Good offense is a good defense is a good offense, right?
Well, and I think that America, the United States, exhibits that pretty well. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be on the offensive as a defensive. It's always the best strategy.
Oh, that was a good quote, apparently.
Well, hey, I'm here all night.
Good points, man. I'm glad we kind of made a full circle. Well done on that one.
Cool. Yeah. Next question.
Next question.
Here we go, America.
Here we go. Actually, we have a message from our first sponsor. Tonight's first sponsor. Let's hear it. Woohoo! It comes from Captain Pete's Field Wipes. When your junk is stink, pull some rank with Captain Pete's Field Wipes. All right.
Ooh, get that Famunda. Famunda. Clean it up.
All right, Captain Pete's, thank you. Have you guys ever, here's the next question. It's from April, a Marine Corps veteran. She sent it to us through our email at vetlineradio@gmail.com. So vetlineradio@gmail.com, that is our email, if you wanted to get in touch with us. April sent us this question. Have you guys ever run into another young veteran and they tell you, thank you for your service? If so, how did you handle it? And if not, what would you tell someone in that awkward instance? It happens to me often.
I haven't. There's the short answer.
Yeah.
Have you?
Well, I have, and I guess my first was like, he was like,
Okay, let me stop you. My first response would be like, shut up.
no, my mom was just like, what's that supposed to mean?
We don't say that to each other.
I'm kidding. No, but it did happen to me. And I do I could empathize with her, the awkwardness of it, and I think simple likewise was exactly how likewise,
Well,
like.
yeah, that's not how I roll. I just feel like, dude,
It's just
shut up.
yeah, it's an awkward thing, but
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, I just
thank you too. Yeah.
well, in the moment, I don't have a good argument. I didn't have a good argument to be like, why did you? Usually I could jump into a funny discussion about that, but
Or you could say, shut up.
right, just push him in the face.
No, you don't have to punch him. Just why are you doing that? You're doing it too. So, we can all suck each other's dicks all night, or April, with respect.
Right.
We could just go, oh, hey, you're in the service. Hey, you're in the service too. Cool, man. What do you do?
Right.
We don't have to go on thanking each other all the time, because you just do what you do. I joined the service for reasons that I didn't expect thanks. It wasn't a thing of glory or anything like that. I mean, I needed a job I couldn't quit.
Right.
So when we've already beaten this into the ground, but when somebody says thank you, it's like, well, it was my pleasure. Thanks for paying my salary, or
Right.
Anyways.
Big picture, I guess, I see maybe what he means. Like, maybe it would mean more coming from him, like, thanks for being on my side, or something. But I think there's also a relativity in knowing that it is kind of a cliche thing to just say to somebody.
Well, let me counter April's question, actually, because I've experienced this more often than anything else, is older veterans, like older more salty than myself, which my salt is debatable, but just people that I have a lot of respect for, knowing the things that they've done in my line of work, I get a nice little snapshot of it, and I can break down a DD-214 and know exactly what they've done, or have a pretty good frickin' idea of whatever it is. And those guys or ladies are the ones that are more apt to say, thank you for your service, when they find out that I was in the military too. And right. in that situation, I stick my hand out real firm and I say, no, thank you.
Right.
Because my experience, and both as a service member and as a post-service member, as a veteran, have been better because of people like that. So man, when an older veteran says it, it's a little different,
Maybe we could make that the automatic response, though. If when somebody does say thank you for your service, just anybody say no, thank you, and then shake their hand and leave them empty with that. Thank you for what?
But I just disagree with that. Why do we have to? I don't know. Why do we have to thank each other all the time? We're all in the same team. We don't have to be so nice and say thank you for everything. Whatever, man. You're a part of a team, and a team did a job, and you did it collectively, and we're all a part of the same team. That's the thing. You're a veteran. We're all in this together.
Uncle Witt's public service announcement. Stop being so fucking nice to everybody.
Well, it's just necessary. It reinforces a cultural rhetoric of something that I just don't like. Responsibility to your community, your country, your family, like all this stuff. It's not something that we should just. I say the same thing for. Oh man, I'd get too deep.
Yeah, it should be. It's like a right to privacy. It should be.
It's not a right to privacy. It's what you do. It's a part of being a human.
Right. It's implied, like a right to privacy in the
If you're a
You know what I
red-blooded
mean.
mammal that speaks a language, then there's something that you have a responsibility to the collective. You are not that important. Individuals don't exist. It's bullshit. The whole cultural rhetoric of, where you can be an individual and all this stuff, that works for like 5 minutes. You're not. No one is. You're a part of something, and whatever you grow up seeing, what you're around, and cultural influences, social influences, whatever, you're still a part of something else.
Yeah.
How you decide to direct your efforts in that is up to you. No one's gonna write the roadmap for you. You got to figure that out on your own. Create your own meaning, but quit being a fucking individual. And what? Got me all fired up.
Essentially, you're saying stop thanking people for being nice when you're supposed to be nice. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Be respectful. Be courteous.
Like these things are supposed to be implied impacts of just normal communication in life. You're supposed to be this way. Stop congratulating people for acting that way. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we live in a culture that's like overcompensating for whatever it feels bad about. And what I wish, I guess, to make known in terms of my own opinion, and it's just an opinion, is that if we're going to progress, if we're going to get any further, and maybe hopefully eliminate, or not eliminate, but decrease the levels of aggression that we show to each other, nationally and sort of community, family, whatever. You can't just go around being nice all the time. And I don't say be mean all the time, but don't be overly nice. Don't be disingenuous.
Mm-hmm. I've always thought about that. That's kind of an interesting point. I vacillated on. I like that word.
That's a good one.
And that was like why how I'm going to explain to my kids why to be polite. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And one of the I guess the one thought I came up with in my mind was because when you're being a polite person, like you're saying thank you or you're saying excuse me to somebody, you don't have to do that. You could kind of touch them on the shoulder or touch them with their hip, and they'll kind of move out of your way, But when you say excuse me, you're recognizing their humanity and the fact that they have the choice to move. They kind of, does that make sense?
Yes. Two completely different things. When we're talking about social courtesies and common courtesies, and just being kind, that's a whole other ball game. But
what you're saying is those courtesies, like we should stop thanking people for recognizing other people, like trying to be. I don't know how to say it. Like stop acting like. Being a polite person is something to.
I don't see.
I'm not wording it right at all.
I don't see saying thank you for your service, being civilian or military or any of that as anything but a superficial acknowledgement of something that is either understood or isn't. You know what I mean? Like that's why I feel like between veterans, generationally speaking, I put the difference there. When an older veteran thanks me for my service, it feels different. So that being said, when a younger veteran says thank you for your service, then they make me feel older, and I'm not that much removed. I haven't sort of earned the right, I guess, to have a younger person say thank you for your service. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
I'm part of a collective, and maybe when I'm an old man and I say to a young veteran, thank you for your service, hopefully they'll respond the way that that I respond. That's what you're hoping for, I guess.
Yeah. I see what you're
It's
saying.
that sort of mutual acknowledgement as that, we're a part of the same team. We have served the same team, and we understand each other, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So when a younger veteran, if they were to say that to me, I don't think I would get it. It would make me feel old and dated. When I'm not that old, I'm not that far removed. Right now, in 20 years, let's revisit this. But I mean, yeah, it just feels canned. So
Right.
I'm not saying don't be polite, don't be courteous. Just I feel it's unnecessary to just go around thanking each other all the time.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. I guess
Between
I couldn't find words.
between veterans.
Right. I see what you're saying. It's I totally see now what you're saying. I was trying to get to that point, but I'm not so great with the words today. Apparently, they're not coming out with my mouth so much.
Well,
So, geez.
mouth coming
Right.
gross.
All right. Next question.
Moving on.
Right. It goes. This one come. Are either of you two? Or, let me try that again. Are either of you two a member of any veteran organizations, new or old, e.g., or for example, VFW or American Legion IAVA? If so, what has been your experience? This comes from Kendall, an Air Force veteran. He found us on Facebook. Uncle Whip.
Ooh. Yes. Currently a member of the American Legion at my local post.
Mm-hmm.
Active. I attend the monthly meetings. Work, through my office with the Legion. They provide resources when we need them, and I think my experience has been very positive. I've said it before. I encourage all veterans to get involved in community engagement, because it needs to happen, and it happens on a small level. If we're talking about sustainability, it's one thing to send some money to a national organization, and feel good about yourself. Say, well, I contribute to this or I contribute to that. Well, whatever. Money's one thing. If you're not involved, you don't know where the money's going, and you don't have a say in how it's spent. If you volunteer and you become part of a local, let's say Legion Post, VFW, you volunteer with your DAV, those kinds of things, or any other veteran organization that's handled locally, with local people that are a part of your community, then I don't see any drawback. There's going to be like little infighting and bitching and well, you did this and I don't like that. Well, who really gives a shit? What's the end mission? What's the objective? And it's a good way to put that back into perspective for yourself while transitioning, to give yourself to something else. If you can afford the time, of course, with your schools and family or whatever you're doing. Yeah, man, engagement, do it.
Yes, well, for me, I am a member of the American Legion and a member of the IAVA, but as everybody knows, the IAVA is a free organization to be a part of, and the American Legion, I am the guy who sends his dues to the national organization and sends his donations to the national organization. To be honest, right now I haven't had the time to go to the local post, and just not an option with my schedule. But I do plan on it, if that makes sense. By the crack of my voice, it doesn't sound guilty at all.
No, I
No,
I think that there's like a for younger, like our generation of vets, there's kind of an idea of what the Legion is. I remember growing up, and there's the Legion down there, and it's a lot of older fellas, and probably sharing war stories, smoking cigarettes, and drinking alcohol. Well, that is a predominant sort of picture of what what a lot of people think about the Legion and the VFW. What I would say to veterans that are trying to start sort of grassroots organizations that separate themselves, I mean, way to go, cool. Keep doing what you do. However, there's this national organization too that's already established that you can become a part of, and you can get your buddies to become a part of, and you already have the groundwork laid out for you to kind of become more involved, to take a little more control over where it goes, being a voice, among the crowd. Because if young vets don't start joining the Legion, it's going to die, and it'll become something else, which is fine, the evolution of things and collectives and ideas, whatever. But there's already something there,
Right.
and if you can bring your energy to it, then you can redirect it. You and the community that you're a part of, you can help redirect it to something that you want to see. Taking ownership of your community. That's, you don't like something. It's one thing to sit around and watch, talk news shows and bitch about it. It's another thing to get involved and become a part of the conversation. So
it's kind of funny. I'm involved with 3 organizations because I am active with my student veteran organization. We just kind of started it back up again, and we've had our first 2 meetings, which I've had the notes to, but I haven't been able to attend again, my schedule. But we have also held a couple events, and so it's pretty exciting on my part. I try to at least stay active and try to donate my time when I can. When my schedule is open and they're performing activities, especially with the student veteran organization. That's one of those things that I feel is kind of one of the most the closest thing in my my
your immediate sphere of influence.
Exactly, in my immediate sphere of influence. Thank you. And so it's something I can really kind of touch and feel at right now. So That's what I'm doing. I would just like Uncle Wes said, get at least put your name down in one of these organizations. Pay some dues. No, do something.
No. I want to stop you. You got to go to a meeting. You got to go. Yeah, you got to become a part. You could put your name down all day and then go have the inexpensive drinks or whatever. But just because you pay, just because you donate, just because you pay your dues and you got your card and all this stuff, you're not really doing anything unless you're a part of the conversation. And the way that you do that is by going to, crap, man, it can't be that big of a time commitment to most people. It's like in my post, it's 1 meeting a month. Once a month. I go, I put on my funny hat with the pins, and we do the rituals, which are greatly appreciated because it keeps us centered on our mission and what we're trying to do, and we talk about what's happening. What are the things, and how do we keep this kind of the ship afloat, I guess, to not be too service centric. But you gotta get involved, and you have to participate. You can't just throw money at it and expect to have someone say thank you for your donation. Go fuck yourself. You could throw money at anything. Look at super PACs. Look the way politicians run the country. You throw enough money at anything, and well, you're gonna get a lot of people involved. If you want to be true, then you attend. Yes, you need to attend. You need to, serve some spaghetti on, homeless feed night, or, you got to be a part of it.
Right. On homeless feed night. You know what we call that in the ministry?
What?
A conviction. Hey! I hit the wrong button. So you're right. I should probably definitely be more involved.
Yeah.
And I will be.
Get off your ass.
But let's get my schedule a little more loose,
What?
and we'll.
How loose could it be? How the worms doing? I'm sure they're fine. They they can wait for you for 3 hours a night once a month.
Oh, they do, dude. I don't touch them for like 3 months. I could just they're like a set it and forget it.
Okay, get involved. Next question.
Next question. It comes from Twitter at I guess the Army veteran at Army Fuck Yeah. Interesting. It goes, Don. Ooh, that's me. How many marshmallows can you fit in your mouth? Do it now. Pound sound STFU. Pound sound seriously. Really, radar? That was important to put on there.
Well, how many marshmallows can you fit in your mouth?
I don't know. What size of marshmallows? We're talking the tiny pea-sized ones? I could probably 20, 30. Maybe the large campfire-sized ones.
I think our Army friend is trying to illustrate how big you can open your mouth. So, moving on.
Moving on. Next sponsor, Captain Pete's Field Wipes.
Oh, there he is again.
Captain Pete's Field Wipes. When the duck butter has congealed, it's time to get out of the field with Captain Pete's Field Wipes. Thank you, Captain Pete.
What I want to ask Captain Pete how they fight the field wipe smell. After enough time, you're caked in wipe, like baby wipes and all that other stuff. You can use them all day long, but then you end up smearing more greasy funk all over your body, and after a month, you're like, God, I just smell like baby wipes. I'd rather just smell like stink.
Really?
Anyways,
I love the smell of babies.
Thanks for the love, Captain Pete. Next question.
Next question. It comes from Stephanie, an Army veteran. She sent this to us on Facebook. It is, I will be discharging soon, and I was wondering what would be smartest, entering the workforce or using my GI Bill. I don't know what I would study, but I need income. Any other ideas? Stephanie, Army, Facebook.
Well, Stephanie, I have no ideas. If you don't know what you want to do, then you're going to have to sit down at the table and write your own fucking SOP. Bone up. Oh, am I getting too curse?
Well, you know what? I think at last notes I said Uncle Whit was being grumpy, and Nate started himself into frustration. And I think I may have to be Uncle Whit is a little grumpier.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding. No, you're doing good, man. Keep it up.
I only say this because, the first time. Okay, let me give a little backstory. I'm not grumpy. I'm in really good spirits. I feel good. No, I see where you're going. And I'll give a little back end to why I'm engaging in this rhetoric. Is that I had a conversation with a buddy of mine the other night, and he was telling me a story about the first time that a staff sergeant, he was in the Army, so staff sergeant or someone addressed his platoon, and he basically told them how worthless they were and how much that meant to him. With a sort of open heart, he was saying that what all of his soldiers should have been walking away from was an understanding of how small and insignificant they are in this big picture. And by being abusive, by being, curt in his language, he was trying to separate them from themselves. And I think that's important. Any veteran that served, you serve something really important. However, that doesn't give you the right or the privilege to just be a veteran and deserve everything once you're done with that service. Mm-hmm. And I mean, in my work, I see a bit of that. I see a few people that serve some time in the military, but then all of a sudden expect that the country is just going to wipe their ass until they die. And I don't want to see that with my generation of veterans. There's a lot of things out there that are available to them, but be an engaged and active member. And if we're broadcasting to, the internet, which I can assume is, the world as far as I'm concerned, then anyone that this kind of conversation matters to, I want them to feel a level of worthlessness in order to use that worthlessness to empower themselves to be better humans.
Something's been coming up often. I saw a Washington Post article. It was kind of one of those, like an editorial, but I can't. I'm looking for it right now. I can't find it. But it was talking about military people, military dependents in this particular case, and veterans as well, military people who are come to expect things like discounts and benefits. And in this particular case, he was a veteran owner of a restaurant, and a military dependent wife was yelling and arguing with one of his clerks because they did not provide a discount for military dependents. If that makes sense.
Well,
and so she's kind of going on, and so he wrote kind of.
I'm sure we've all known one or two of those.
Right, but I guess it's kind of been popping into my mind as well, especially talking about veteran benefits and such, in that it is a form. It is a social benefit. It's a privilege. It's not like a right, but also it's kind of for when you need it, if you know what I mean.
Well,
and it's something that can be wasted.
I'll disagree with you a little bit, just in rhetoric, not philosophically.
Mm-hmm.
But what we all right. Every day, I see at least one Vietnam veteran.
Yes.
And every week, I see one Vietnam veteran who's suffering from, some disease related to Agent Orange exposure, right?
Right.
So here's a situation where the government decided to use a chemical en masse all over a country that caused hugely significant health problems to the veterans that were on the ground, that were engaging. That this chemical in theory was supposed to be helping, but it, maybe it did by killing some bushes, but I mean, the after effects were probably not worth. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
That being said, right, in terms of the mission, there was a decision that was made. This chemical was used, and it set into motion an entire universe of problems. Now, a veteran, because of that being that backstory, a veteran with the work that they do, and by virtue of just saying, I am willing to be property of a government organization, they do deserve to be compensated for the work that they do. I will never say that veterans don't deserve what they're entitled to. That's what I do every day. I connect veterans to that shit. I make it happen. I do my best. As an advocate, that's what I am. I don't work for the VA. I'm a veterans advocate. At the same time, 90% of my clientele are people that are just trying to get connected with services that they're entitled to. There's another 10% that thinks that because they served in the military, they deserve the world. They deserve to not have to worry about anything ever again. And that's I guess where my kind of grumpiness is coming from. I don't want that. I don't want to see another generation of veterans thinking that, given the cultural rhetoric, you're a veteran, you served your country in the time of war, and and all that stuff. Yes, you did. Good for you. Now, Let's move on to bigger and better things, like living your life and being a productive member of the social body that you serve to protect.
Mm.
I don't want to. I don't want to have a welfare state. I don't want to see the VA turn into this entitled sense of welfare,
Right.
because that is not good for an individual. It's better to have a job. It's better to have something to wake up to and be accountable to than it is to just go, oh yeah, my VA benefit's paying out 100%, so I don't have to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
I see a lot of 100% ratings do more damage than good. You know, they're there to supplement veterans that are disabled, that that are disabled to the point that they can't work. However, as a system of laws and words on a page, that's what the 38 CFR is. It's just words on a page that mandate how things should be run or doled out. I see a lot of times it hurts the veteran because it's an entitlement, and better not be 100% and have something to continue to be accountable to than to just become a charity case, because you're not empowering the people that will follow you in the future. Better to be a veteran that owns their. Are you there? Hello?
I'm here. I'm listening, man. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, I thought I lost you.
I was listening. I thought you were going. I didn't want to jump all over you.
I want to see this generation of vets be equated to something like, not entirely because we can't, but I mean I want 40 years from now a generation to look back on our generation of veterans and say, they left the service and they didn't quit. You know what I mean? They kept working, they kept doing stuff, and they made the country that they served better because of their service.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to encourage. Sorry.
Well, I guess one of the biggest. I keep saying that too. I need to cut that straight phrase out of
one of the biggest.
One of the biggest things is I need to cut that phrase out of my speech completely. Anyway, you kind of hit what exactly what I meant was the fact that it's something that should be that is there for when supposed to be when you need it, although it is something that we're entitled to. So, and I guess that's something we're trying to foster here is kind of this balanced view of, yes, how the veteran, the VA system is backed up. It's super backed up. It's hard to get appointments in the healthcare system oftentimes. But on the flip side, it is the largest system of its kind.
What I've said before and what I'll finish your statement with is no one in the world will take care of you better than you.
Right.
So much for my hatred of individualism, huh?
Right. Well, well, to answer Stephanie's question, I guess, what would be the smartest thing to do? And I think is to get your if you let's call you lost at this moment. You're in the desert and you've got a compass, and you got to find north. You got to find your direction. And,
but if you're lost in the desert, there are resources available. It's how you know how to use them. What tools do you have? Do you know how to find the star? Do you know how to find a river? Do you know what direction that river is going to run? Do you know how to find, or an arroyo, whatever, if we're in the desert?
Look at you, nice Spanish.
Which way does the wind blow? You can adapt and overcome any situation, and hopefully the military taught you something or gave you some confidence to be able to do that yourself.
Right.
Because, if you're waiting for somebody to just do it for you, I'm sorry, you're done.
Yeah.
And that even goes for getting your entitlements. Even in terms of being a dirtbag, sometimes being a dirtbag takes more work than just being a productive member of the social collective.
Right. Watch Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I would say is last time, last episode in a super wordy and aerated way. Uh,
Air-hated or aerated?
aerated is what I wanted. What did it sound like?
Air-hated.
Oh, I hate air.
I almost like that better.
Right. I am oxygen phobic. No, but what I meant was I tried to find when I was looking. I am still what I'm going to be when I grow up is what's the general theme I want to accomplish with the things I want to do, like the things I want to start up. What's the general theme? Is it just to make money, to get stabilize my family? Is it to help my community? Is it to heal people? What do you want to get out of it? For me, I just wanted to find something, or I still do, that benefits people, but also I'm interested in, and that I could be motivated about. One of the biggest things about me is I lose motivation often. You know,
Right.
I'll get into something, and I'll think it's the bee's knees, but then I realize it's not for me, and I'll lose the motivation to continue. But those things that I do find I've stuck out. I found the general theme in that, and I started that gave me a heading, a general direction where I want to go.
Right.
So that's what I would say to Stephanie: is find what you want.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Word.
If you need money, then get enrolled in school and get the benefits rolling. And while you're in school, you're going to hear a lot of things that might perk your interest. And be like water. You'll find something that hopefully that'll spark your interest enough that you want to pursue it a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully if you find that thing, you'll find another route to say this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to dedicate myself to.
Then let's remind you again not to jump back too far into last week's episode, but also we did use a wonderful long-used acronym of BAMSIS, which is begin the planning, arrange for recon, make recon, complete the plan, issue the order, and supervise. And what does that mean for us, Uncle Whit, in this particular situation?
In that situation, it means that you do the best you can, and then with what you got, you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then supervise, you reassess at some point.
Right. You're self-analytical. You're analytical about it.
You reassess and you make adjustments where necessary. So you gotta make little chess moves. You make a big chess move initially, but then how did your plan work out? What do you have to do? How do you adapt to the new situation? Or in Stephanie's thing, right now she needs money, right?
Yeah.
So enroll in school. Get the money rolling in. Start attending classes. Don't take it lightly because it's not easy. Mm-hmm. But maybe along the way, something will present itself that will mean something to Stephanie, and she can grasp onto that and run with it. And if she finds something and it isn't there, you don't have to stick with it. You just go, oh, well, that was bullshit, and I'm going to let that go, but here we go, BAMSIS. Come up with a new plan. Next question.
Let's go. I'm going to... Well done. Next question. We're running out of time a little bit, but sponsor. I'm sorry, Radar is typing. Weird. Sponsor, Captain Pete's Field Wipes. When your nads need a cleaning, Captain Pete's Field Wipes is what you're needing. Captain Pete's Field Wipes. Thank you, Captain Pete.
They smell funky.
So funky.
So you got any more questions, or are we just totally out of time?
One last question. We got a lot of. I'm kind of jumping one. We're running out of time, but this is a really good question. I think Radar definitely saved it for last for a reason, and that
Okay.
is it comes from Tina, and she's a civilian. She was a military dependent, um, and she sent us this in our email at vetlineradio@gmail.com. Tina asked, "My father is a Vietnam veteran. How can I get his military records, medals, and any other documents?" That's really short. I guess she's probably posthumously, or
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
guessing.
Right.
Uh,
Well, I've got an answer for Tina.
yes, please. Let's hear it, Uncle Whit.
Well, Tina, what you want to do is log into archives.org. Archives.org. And
Archives.org.
go, there's a couple like banner links. You can go down and say request military records. And you click on that. And it'll tell you what to do. It'll ask you who you are, why you want the records. Not everybody's entitled to records. Sometimes, people looking for deep histories, they're going to have to do a little more work to resurrect something like that because it's personal information. There's social security numbers. There's, a lot of info. But if you're looking for something like awards and all that, I'd recommend, if you're too far removed, typing a cover letter to go along with it when you send it. However, go to archives.org, click the links, fill out the information to the best of your knowledge, print out the sheet. It'll have at the end, and sign it, print your name. If you aren't the veteran, if you are not the veteran, you're requesting somebody else's information, type a cover letter that explains who you are and why you want these, and whether or not the veteran is living. If they're living and you're not the veteran, you're probably not going to get them. But if you're a surviving family member, you can petition and try to get something out of that. So there you go, archives.org.
Beautiful. Archives.org. Thank you very much, Uncle Whit. I got nothing. That's out of me. That's a way over my head.
Well, the other way to do it is there's SF 180, standard form 180, and you can print that out and fill it out. That's for anybody. But I recommend archives.org because the requests seem to go a lot faster than just sending in the SF 180.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go a lot faster for surviving family members if there's an issue that archives. So all archives are held in St. Louis, Missouri at the National Archives Center. They have a lot. And they have requests coming in from many different directions, not even related to military service. Anything that's happened in the United States, documents, politically, Jesus, we could go on forever what they hold. They have so much, but anytime anyone wants anything military service related, they're asked to fill out an SF-180. The requests take with an SF-180 take between 2 and 3 months. If you go to archives.org and just do the prompts, they cut the send out time to about a month to 2 months. So, is that it?
I think that's it, man.
There was another question in there, man. You got to ask. You can't end on archives.org. That was so lackluster.
Really? Well, I have one that I jumped, but it's kind of, I think it goes into my boisterous, airy side, where I could talk about this shit forever. But I'll hit it. Let's hit it. Let's see how concise it can be. It comes from Brad, an Army veteran. He found us on Facebook. And the question is, I was in the infantry in the military. My training did not leave me with any marketable skills in the civilian world other than police work. What other military training would I highlight to help me in the civilian world? Uncle Whit?
Ooh, boy. That is a tough one. And I don't have a clear answer. I would just point back to my philosophy of chess move.
Mm-hmm.
Try to emphasize the things that you did do. If you had a leadership position, open that up. boy, I mean that's really the crux of most separating veterans issues, gaining employment. Generally speaking, someone like that, if they're recently separated and they just served in the infantry and they know small arms or um, troop, I don't know, troop level support, then through things that go bang, I'd say, man, get in school and utilize the tools and kung fu your way out of not being very employable. Because there's really nowhere else in the civilian world that you're just gonna drop mortars.
Mhm.
There isn't a lot that's directly transferable. If you're applying to a if the hiring manager is a veteran, that's what you want to hope for.
Right.
That they'll know what kind of skills you've learned that aren't just dropping mortars or shooting a weapon.
Mhm.
Then that's what you want to hope for. But really, I don't have a clear answer for that, unfortunately.
I do. I
You
have
do?
a yeah.
You
I love one of the
Please
things.
share.
One of the things I learned in the military, especially, and I really had a hard time with, was writing brag sheets.
Yo.
Okay, remember writing brag sheets, and you would get coaching from from a couple upper, HM3s, HM2s, or whatever, and they give you this coaching on how to write things down, right? And everything's in the wording, in a
Well,
way. Now, especially as an infantry person, let's talk about especially I don't know about in the Army, particularly in this case, for Brad here, but I know in the Marine Corps that they did like CCUs, if you know what I mean, continuing education stuff. They did, what are they
yeah.
called? Their little
I,
books. Do you remember?
dude, I can't remember right now.
But
How
there
about
was
some Marine, log into our website and tell us what jerk off fucking hospital corpsmen we are and not knowing
right.
dick about the Marine Corps. Tell us what we're missing. I remember like pros and cons. I think it was like CCUs, but don't quote me.
Yeah,
Please feel free to berate us for our lack of knowledge.
please. But what happened? But what a lot of it was, I remember reading, like, kind of flipping through them, was like leadership. You took a class in leadership. You took an English class. You took, what would it be considered, like a prerequisite to a college English course. You took a prerequisite or mind, like low algebra courses. You know what I'm saying? These are
Well, I
things that
do.
but no, but you also did, in my particular case, you could write down. Right. How many people did you lead? Were you the leader of a fire team? Were you a squad leader? That's important. Do you have leading capabilities? Have you led people before? Leading experience is important. I'll tell you, in my experience, particularly, is that uh, when I worked as a chef for about a year and 6 months, and I started from a dishwasher. But the reason why I was hired and the reason why these people had so much faith that I would pick up this job so fast is because I wrote down the fact that I knew how to lead, that I knew how to listen, that I knew how to communicate, and I wrote it down concisely, and I put it down in an organized form. I had a resume. I had cover sheets. I was an organized person, a military person like you could imagine an individual who was locked on would be.
Well,
It was there. It was in the wording. You
maybe
know what I'm saying?
I jump to conclusions about our Army friends' inquiry as to getting a job because
Mhm.
I think I was assuming that he was asking how do you develop a career
Oh, right.
straight out of the military as an infantryman, and that's where it is. I don't have a clear answer. However, you can get a job anywhere and utilize the skills that you learned as an infantryman to
Mhm.
just take shit over because you're going to be surrounded by a lot of people that are really motivated that you don't necessarily have to listen to. You got to kung fu your way out of navigating and how to take control, which as an
Mhm.
infantryman, you ought to know how to take control with or without a weapon.
Right.
And so, I mean, shit, man, getting a job as a dishwasher, good on you. You navigated your way up to, doing head chef stuff and writing menus and all that. You utilize skills. but you were doing chess moves. You weren't necessarily looking for a direct hire as a career person.
Right.
In my line of work, when I see people that ask these kinds of questions, I just have to tell them, it's unfortunately your service isn't always good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good example for me too. I mean, I thought I had not like, aside from skills with infantry, Marines, and all that I developed along the way, I thought that my service as a medical person was good enough to land me a job as, God, bare minimum, a medical assistant. And it turned out that my skills, or what the world or the social body viewed of my skills, wasn't good enough. I had to go back to school. And when I went back to school to look into nursing, my skills didn't give me any leg up against the competition,
Mm-hmm.
So, like I've said before, I had to dial back and say, well, I guess I'm not that important to the world, so let's come up with a new plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that plan worked out. So
again, I would just say it's kind of in the wording. Find what you want to do. Find that direction, like we said to Stephanie. Just kind of generally figure a general direction and apply those soft skills, what I talked about, those numbers, the experience that you have, apply those in that direction and see how those apply. And maybe they don't apply at all, and maybe you have to reevaluate yourself and make some compromises.
you got to supervise.
Right. Right. Analyze.
Yeah, with the rhetoric going on, and I know there's a lot of commercials and companies or organizations saying hire vets, they have skills. Yeah, I mean, shit. One of my biggest pet peeves is USAA Bank. They're not a bad bank. I'm not gonna talk about their banking practices, but their marketing drives me up the fucking wall. I would on Pandora for like 2 years. You had this thing that came on. It was like, military veterans and families experience things that are hard. USA Bank, banks with veterans and their families. That was fucking it.
Yeah.
And I would be
non-veterans and their family. Yeah.
Right. It drove me crazy. That they talk about veterans and say, yeah, they have skills and they do things. Good to go.
Next one.
Hey, we're a bank.
Yeah. USAA investing in our veterans. And then what after that is USAA saving with our veterans. It's the same exact shit.
No, USAA making money off of veterans' rhetoric and a culture that wants to be better to its veterans. USAA making money.
Right.
Boom. Fuck off, USAA. You might be a great bank and whatever, but your fucking marketing drives me nuts.
Right. USAA riding the popular wave.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all the time we got. We'll end on that one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's it. We're running out. And we'll end it with a...
And self-consciousness sets in. Are we riding the popular wave? Well, no, because we're doing it for free.
Yeah. For now. No, I'm loving it, man. I'm having a great time. I hope everybody's enjoying it as well. Since now at the end of our show, we always do one thing that's super important. That is thank a number of people who have donated to the show. If you like what you hear, or even if you don't like what you hear, you could still donate.
And even better, if you don't like what you hear and you donate, I'll have some weird respect for you. I'll get a weird.
You know what? If you don't like what you
it.
hear, depending on how much you donate, I'll read whatever you write on the air about me. Or
All
Uncle Whit.
donations going, of course, to sustaining the programming that we are producing.
Right. Making it a little less expensive for us coming out of our pocket. That's it. And so let's talk about the site before people tune out and turn it off. GoFundMe.com/VetLine Radio. That is our crowdfunding site. We want to thank first Arturo out of San Diego. Thank you for your uh, Spanish words of confidence and your support. Robert out of San Diego as well. We thank you for your support and keeping us going. Chris out of Oceanside, California, we want to thank you for your donation. Jason out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, thank you for donating and helping keeping us going. Nick the Pirate out of Newport, thank you for your donation very much and for keeping the show afloat. Let's see. Nicole out of San Juan, thank you for your sizable donation. We appreciate you for what you're doing and for keeping us going. And Cole out of Portland, thank you for your donation. And all of you, thank you very much for keeping us going. For myself, Natron Don, and Uncle Whit, we really do appreciate your thoughts and your donations. If you want to support us socially, you can find us on Facebook at VetLine Radio. Also, you can find us on Twitter. Please Twitter us at VetLine Radio. Oh, excuse me, VetLine Official. That is Twitter at VetLine Official.
Send us a good twat.
That's a good twat, yeah. And we are also on Google Plus at VetLine Radio. Thank you very much for listening. Uncle Whit, you have anything to say?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Maybe I'll just save it for next week.
Coming up next week, we find out what Uncle Whit has to say.
Mm-hmm.
And for myself, again, let's stop being yourself. It sucks. Try to be something a little bit better.
Amen.
I'm trying. I don't know how it's going. We'll see. I am the Natron Don for your Uncle Whit, saying, taps, taps, lights out, America.